Moana 2 Storybook. Ever since the great wayfinder Moana voyaged to save the heart of Te Fiti, she had been exploring new shores in search of other people. During one journey, she found a piece of pottery unlike anything she'd ever seen on Motunui. She excitedly picked it up and dashed to her canoe. "Let's go home," she told her animal friends Pua and Heihei. They sailed through the night, and when Motunui came into view, Moana smiled. "We're back," she announced. Chief Tue and Sina proudly welcomed their daughter home. Moana's sister, Saimia, leapt into her arms shouting, "Big sis!" Moana dreamed of sharing the entire ocean with Saimia someday. Moana showed Chief Tue the piece of pottery she had discovered. "It's proof," she explained. "It means there are other people out there." That night, Moana had a strange vision of Tautaiveza, her legendary ancestor. He called on Moana to find an island in the far sea called Motufitu, where all the ocean's people had once gathered. A jealous god had cursed the island so that no one could find it. The curse would be broken only when a human set foot upon its shores. Moana knew the journey could take a lifetime, but she believed that reconnecting all the people of the sea would help pave the way for Motunui's future. This was her chance to share the entire ocean with Saimia. To prepare for her journey, Moana gathered her crew: a canoe maker named Loto, Kele the farmer, and Moni the storyteller. The whole village waved goodbye as the voyagers set out in search of Motufitu. After several days at sea, the crew spotted a huge shadow in the distance. "It's Motufitu," shouted Moni. The crew celebrated. But as the fog cleared, Moana said, "That's no island." It was the Kakamora barge. The last time she had encountered the Kakamora, the coconut-clad warriors had attacked. Moana readied for battle, but to her surprise, the barge raced past them. Then Moana saw something horrible. A giant clam was sucking the barge and everything around it toward its gaping mouth. When Moana's crew and the Kakamora tried to escape, their ropes became tangled on an underwater reef. While deciding what to do next, Moana learned that the Kakamora were trying to get back to their home, which was not far from Motufitu. So the two groups agreed to work together to defeat the monster clam and find the lost island. Moana aimed one of the Kakamora's toxic spears at the center of the clam, but the reef suddenly cracked, causing the canoe to jerk, and Moana lost her balance. The canoe and the Kakamora barge inched closer and closer to the monster clam. Just as the two vessels were about to be swallowed whole, Kotu, the Kakamora chief's son, swooped in and hit the giant mollusk with his spear. The poison worked quickly, making the clam shudder and begin to close. The strong current pulled the vessels toward the monster's gullet. Moana tried to tow the canoe to safety using a rope tied to the Kakamora barge. But then Kota cut the rope to save the Kakamora, and Moana's canoe was sucked into the clam just before its shell slammed shut. As the canoe plummeted through the clam's chamber, Moana fell off it and tumbled out of sight. The crew members landed safely in a trash heap, but they were worried about Moana. Soon the crew heard a familiar voice say, "Can I get a chihu?" "Maui," said Moni, amazed. He had always dreamed of meeting the demigod who had helped Moana on her mission to restore the heart of Te Fiti. Maui warned the crew to stay away from the scary bat lady who had trapped him inside the clam. They helped free him and he boarded the canoe to help search for Moana. Alone in a dark chamber, Moana swatted at some swarming bats. Suddenly, a demigod named Matangi appeared, startling her. "Relax," said Matangi. "I don't bite." She told Moana that to find her way, she had to get lost first. But when Moana took her advice, she ended up trapped inside a shimmering pearl. Maui and the crew arrived just as Moana had discovered a hidden portal. When she opened it, the pearl exploded. Moana and her friends were whisked through the portal on their canoe. As they traveled through a strange tunnel, Maui warned Moana that finding Motufitu would be harder than she thought. The god's curse had sunk Motufitu to the bottom of the sea to prevent any human from reaching its shores. "Which means a demigod has to raise it," he explained. The canoe finally burst through a whirlpool in the far sea. Despite Maui's warnings, Moana remained determined to find Motufitu and break the curse. As Moana and her crew sailed toward Motufitu, they encountered a storm so fierce, it could only have been created by an angry god. The storm attacked the canoe with its tentacle-like arms. Moana soon realized that the storm was targeting her. She came up with a plan. "We can distract it while Maui lifts the island." Everyone agreed and they sprang into action. The storm chased Moana's canoe, leaving Maui a clear path to Motufitu. He plunged into the sea and used his hook to pull the island from the ocean floor. But then the storm suddenly turned toward Maui and tossed him aside. Moana knew it was up to her to break the curse. She dove into the ocean and swam toward the sunken island. With the last of her strength, Moana reached Motufitu and placed her hand on the island. The curse was broken. Together, Moana and Maui raised the island. Moana blew into a conch, sending a signal across the ocean that Motufitu had been found. Soon wayfinders from distant shores arrived. Moana was happy she could bring the people of the ocean together again. Now Moana could share the entire ocean with Saimia and the people of Motunui. With distant shores to explore and new people to meet, Moana was ready for her next adventure.